Kick headquarters sometime in 2023. Executives are in a room debating numbers that would normally take months to negotiate, except this time, they don't have months. Every major streaming platform wants the same 23-year-old, and if they don't move fast, a competitor will lock him down first. His name is Darren Watkins Jr. online. He's IShowSpeed. On the surface, he looks like pure chaos, a kid who screams into a webcam and can't sit still for 30 seconds. But behind the chaos, a long chain of decisions, some deliberate, some accidental, that turned him into one of the hardest creators in the world to compete with, copy, or replace. This video draws on public reporting on creator platform deals, interviews with Speed and people close to his team, and analysis of how top-tier streamers structure their business. To understand the strategy, you first have to understand where there wasn't one. In 2018, Speed is uploading NBA 2K clips almost nobody watches. There's no business plan, no manager, no team, just a teenager posting constantly because he genuinely loves doing it. For 2 years, this gets him almost nowhere in terms of numbers. But it quietly builds something valuable he doesn't even realize yet, a habit of relentless output. He never stops posting, even when nobody's watching. Consistency, not strategy, becomes the first accidental advantage, and it's one most creators underestimate. Algorithms reward accounts that post constantly and predictably long before they reward quality or polish. Speed stumbles into that principle years before he could have explained it. The second advantage arrives in 2020, when he shifts from posting edited videos to live streaming full sessions. Again, this isn't a calculated business move. It's just what feels natural to him, sitting in front of a camera for hours, reacting to whatever's in front of him. But it has a side effect nobody planned for. Live streaming produces hours of raw, unscripted footage every single day, and raw footage is exactly what other accounts can clip, caption, and repost for free. Without meaning to, Speed builds an entire unpaid marketing army out of strangers. Every meltdown, every scream, every random outburst gets cut into a 10-second clip and reposted by accounts chasing their own engagement. And Speed's face and voice spread across platforms he's never even logged into himself. Speed and the people around him start noticing which specific moments spread fastest, and instead of toning them down for a safer, more advertiser-friendly image, the opposite happens. Most creators, once they start landing bigger deals and sponsors, sand down their rough edges. They get calmer, more careful, more brand safe. Speed does the reverse. The chaos isn't treated as a phase to grow out of, it's treated as the actual product. Protecting that unpredictability, instead of professionalizing it away, becomes the single most important decision underlying everything that follows. By 2022, football enters the picture, and the business logic sharpens even further. Speed has idolized Cristiano Ronaldo since childhood, and his reactions to matches aren't calculated content strategy at first, they're just genuine emotion. But the effect on his numbers is enormous. Football carries one of the largest, most emotionally invested fan bases on the planet, an audience that gaming content alone could never reach on its own. By tapping into that world authentically, instead of forcing some sponsored tie-in, Speed gains access to a genuinely global market that most American streamers never come close to touching. This single pivot roughly doubles the realistic ceiling of who could plausibly become a fan of his. Around this same period, controversy starts becoming part of the business model too, whether intentionally or not. Speed gets temporarily banned or restricted on more than one platform for behavior during live streams, comments made in the heat of the moment, stunts that go further than platforms are comfortable with. For most creators, a ban is a disaster, a direct hit to income and reach. For Speed, each controversy generates a fresh wave of press coverage, video essays, and clip compilations dissecting what happened, all of which keeps his name circulating even during the punishment itself. It's not that the team engineers controversy on purpose, it's that the same unfiltered instinct that makes him compelling also makes him occasionally reckless. And rather than trying to eliminate that risk entirely, the strategy becomes managing the fallout instead of preventing the behavior. That distinction matters. A creator who never takes risks rarely goes viral. A creator who takes constant risks and has a team that can clean up afterward ends up with both the virality and the survivability. By early 2024, Speed and his team make the boldest move yet. Instead of staying in a bedroom waiting for the online audience to keep compounding, they take the show physically into the world, starting with Lagos, Nigeria. On paper, this looks like an enormous risk. International travel, security logistics, unpredictable crowd sizes in cities where nobody has ever managed an influencer visit at this scale before. But the payoff completely reframes what his content even is. It stops being just a live stream and becomes an event, something that generates its own local news coverage, its own street-level buzz, its own reason to go viral that's completely independent of any platform's algorithm. Traditional creators are hostages to whatever a platform decides to promote that week. Speed, standing in a flooded street in Lagos, surrounded by thousands of fans, has made himself impossible to ignore, regardless of what any algorithm does that day. This is the real core of the business strategy, even if nobody ever wrote it down on a whiteboard from day one. Every major decision made Speed harder to replace. A polished, scripted creator can be copied by the next polished, scripted creator. A chaotic, physically present global phenomenon who generates real-world news coverage in multiple countries cannot be copied nearly as easily. He follows Lagos with Ghana, then other cities across Africa and Europe, and a pattern starts to form. Each trip isn't randomly chosen. It's built around existing fan density, places where football culture and his online audience already overlap heavily. This isn't guesswork. It's closer to a live version of data-driven expansion, going where the demand already exists, rather than trying to manufacture demand from nothing. By mid-2024, platforms are competing directly for him, not just for ad placements inside individual videos, but for exclusive streaming rights altogether. This is a fundamentally different kind of leverage than most creators ever get access to. Instead of Speed needing a platform to survive, platforms need Speed to stay competitive, because his audience follows him personally, not the platform he happens to be using that month. That single dynamic, audience loyalty attached to the person rather than the platform, is arguably the single most valuable asset a creator can have, and the vast majority of creators never actually achieve it, no matter how large their following gets. Brand deals shift in response to companies that once viewed his chaos as a liability, too unpredictable, too risky for a polished campaign, start actively pursuing him for exactly that reason. In an advertising landscape drowning in overproduced, forgettable content, one unscripted reaction from Speed cuts through in a way a fully scripted commercial simply can't anymore. His unpredictability, once considered his biggest weakness from a brand safety standpoint, becomes the entire pitch to advertisers chasing genuine attention instead of polished impressions. Merchandise follows the same underlying logic. Instead of generic branded hoodies with a logo slapped on, drops get built around specific viral moments, the barking bit, particular meltdowns, catchphrases that only make sense if you've actually watched the man create them. This isn't accidental. It's a pattern visible across nearly all of his most successful merchandise runs. Sell the inside joke, not the brand name. Fans aren't buying a logo, they're buying proof they were part of the audience when the moment happened. The financial structure behind all of this also starts diversifying in ways that protect him from any single point of failure. Where many creators depend almost entirely on one platform's ad revenue, Speed's income by this point comes from a mix of exclusive streaming, deals, sponsorship integrations, merchandise, appearance fees tied to the international trips themselves, and increasingly revenue from his own football-related content specifically, separate from his general streaming output. Splitting revenue across that many channels means no single platform ban, no single sponsor pulling out, no single controversy can meaningfully threaten the whole operation. It's the same principle serious investors use, diversification, just applied to a personal brand, instead of a stock portfolio. By the end of 2024, the picture is unmistakable. He's not just a creator with a large following anymore. He's built something closer to a self-contained ecosystem. His own reactions generate his own viral clips. His own crowds generate their own local and international news coverage. His own persona generates deals that don't require him to change anything meaningful about how he behaves on camera. Not everyone agrees this is sustainable long-term. Critics argue that a business built almost entirely around unpredictability is inherently fragile by design. One controversy that goes further than the last. One bad night caught on camera. One moment that genuinely crosses a line. And the same chaos that built the brand could unravel it just as fast. What's not up for debate is the actual outcome. A kid who once streamed to a few hundred people in a bedroom in Cincinnati with no plan, no team, and no idea what he was building, ended up creating something that almost no platform, brand, or competitor can fully copy, control, or take away from him. And whatever comes next, Whether it's even bigger deals, a controversy that finally tests the limits of his audience's patience, or some pivot nobody's predicting yet, he's still just reacting exactly how he feels, on camera, in real time. Everything else, the deals, the platforms, the merchandise, the crowds in the street, just got built around that one unchanged habit.